Okay, today is a special day because I found an amazing pine tree to go do some Yamadori or yardadori, and I am up kind of before the sun because I want to get this thing. It's a little bit of a drive to get to where it is, and I want to dig it up and get it done early in the morning to get back home. So yeah, it's a very cool tree. Found this thing online, and I do that, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I always try to look out for some, trees on different places to find some good material to turn into bonsai. So yeah, it is really early in the morning, and you can see here I'm still very not fully awake yet. I need my coffee. So let's get this going. Okay, I've got my tools, my coffee, sawzall, and I'm here. It's a beast of a movable pine. Look at that trunk. As I get closer, you see how big it is. This will be a challenge to get it out of the ground, but sooner I start, the sooner I can finish. It's got at least a 10-foot spread on the canopy, at least 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall almost. It'd be interesting to see if I can turn this into a bonsai, but if I do, it'd be amazing. Okay, that actually wasn't too bad in terms of getting it out. It is a very heavy tree though, and I have to lose some limbs here so I can make it a little bit lighter. Check out this root system. It's already pretty shallow, which I kind of expected with pines usually. Now let's just do some cleanup, and hopefully I can get some help loading it. You can see the size of it compared to the shovel spade, how big it is. This tree weighed a ton. It must have been 400 pounds with all the branches on there, and there was no way I was going to be able to lift this onto the truck. This little guy came out to help, but he was more interested in the camera. Luckily, the owner of the tree came out and he let me borrow his wheelbarrow, and he and I both used all of our strength to get this thing from the backyard to the truck and then loaded. Tree made it home. I was going pretty good speeds, up to 70 on the freeway, and it did okay. I did stop by a nursery, and they looked at this tree and told me could be a Scots pine, not a movable pine. And I think they're right. The size is the thing. Let's try to unload it. All right. This is definitely the largest tree yet that I have collected, and it is at least 300 to 400 pounds. Really hard to move, and yeah, I'm just tired. Just a little tired. Potting it will be really difficult. I probably still need to chop off some limbs. I want to leave as much foliage as possible, but it's so top heavy that it just falls over. So I've got it leaning against the fence right now, but have to figure out how to get this thing balanced in the ground or in a pot. So it won't be easy, and I probably have to go ahead and make some decisions on it and chop off something. Not quite sure yet, but I'm going to study it and probably take back some of the foliage some more and then go from there. All right, there it is after its big trim haircut. I think that I'm going to leave just that many branches here to let it recuperate. Take off all the pine cones. And hopefully it survives the winter. Even after cutting off all of those major branches, the tree felt like a ton. You can see the strain on my face as I walked it from where it was standing over to the cement mixing pot. Okay. Almost a good fit. I just need a couple of roots to get fit in there perfectly. One, two, good. Everything fits in here perfect. I'm going to use some of this gravel and work as a drain layer. Okay, it's home, and I'm tired. Whew. I didn't have any pumice on hand, so I ended up using some potting soil mixed in with a lot of perlite as my mix. I wanted to retain some water. Threw a couple rocks on here so I won't flip over in heavy winds. Here's a tree a couple weeks later. You can see the nabari on this thing is huge. It's over 2 feet long and 2 feet wide. And then, a lot of this dead wood on here are the branches that were cut off with. Okay, so I took off a lot of canopy from this Scots pine, but I left more than I'm going to keep in the final design, only because I want the tree to have some solar panels to be able to generate food and energy back into its roots. I've also sprinkled some mycorrhiza and some rooting powder, kind of sprinkled it on top and then watered it in and let it seep through. Hopefully that helps. I don't see how it could hurt. Yeah, I mean, really, there's only a couple branches like this one right here that I'm going to keep in the final design. And then these little ones are, I'm hoping they survive. But, because I pruned off a lot more than 30% of the tree, hopefully, in theory, it'll flush out and back bud if it survives and regains its vigor. So yeah, we'll see. This is October, and we'll follow up with this tree in the spring. In the meantime, I see 2 pine cones that I'm gonna remove, only because I don't want it to spend any more of its energy on anything else but recuperating the roots and growing new pine needles and new solar panels and back buds. So let's take these off, and I'll take that other one off up there as well. The only way I was going to be able to get lower branches on this beast was to do some grafting. So here are some clips of some grafting that I did on a smaller tree using a very simple. So here I'm taking a piece of buddy tape and wrapping it around the scion. Not doing a very good job. Next, I pick the spot on the tree where I want that new branch to come out of. So here I'm picking a outer curve where I want to create a new branch. So once I slip in that piece of scion wood, I take another piece of parafilm or buddy tape and just kind of secure it to the tree. And lastly, I took another piece of buddy tape and just secured that little scion wood to the trunk so that it wouldn't flop around and then come loose or get damaged by any kind of movement. All right, it's beginning of March 2021, and I've had these two grafts on this little Japanese black pine. And I think I'm ready to take them out. You can take a closer look here. This one clearly has taken. This one looks like it's dead. It may have been too waterlogged. I've left kind of a pocket here from the parafilm that probably filled up with water. This one didn't have that pocket. You see that spacing right here? That's probably where I made that mistake. And so it looks a lot better. Let's unravel it. I think it's time to let it breathe. Okay. Yeah, that feels nice and tight. I'll probably have to use two hands and cut it off with a pair of scissors here. So I'll put this camera on a tripod and we'll take a closer look at what that looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and cut the parafilm off. We're gonna let these grafts breathe now for the first time in about a year, and hopefully they continue to grow this year without any issue. Okay. The one thing I've noticed here is that I do think it was a little bit too moisture tight, and there's a lot of moisture collected under the parafilm, which is not a good thing because then it can rot the wood. So I may try a different approach. Next time, I've seen people just wrap an entire baggie over the entire kind of section of graft so that it retains the humidity that it needs. to keep from drying out. And I may try that with other grafts this year. Okay. Or next time I'll just kind of wrap very sparingly. I feel like this was a little bit too airtight, or even liquid tight. There we go. Alright, there's one done. Let's take care of this other one. This is the one that didn't take, and I definitely want to remove the parafilm so that way I can make sure I don't cause any additional problems with too much moisture on the bark. Yeah, definitely just too much parafilm. Too much water retention. Smell that. Doesn't smell rotten or anything. This one did not take. You can clearly see right there. It's moldy. Didn't take. There's a bit of a wound from where I made the cut. It's not too bad. It should heal up just fine. This other one did take, and I think it should do fine, because this is actually right here. This tip right here is all new growth. So there goes. That's the grafting experiment on Japanese black pine. I wish this one took. Would have been better. I'm just glad this one took. You know, it's all on the outside of the bends here. So yeah, we'll let it grow. See how it looks here when spring is kind of in full swing. All right, so after a semi-successful attempt at grafting black pine, at least I got one to work. You kind of have to do a post-mortem and figure out why it didn't work, you know, why it may have failed. So here I'm wrapping this new scion here. This is a I believe it's a Nishiki Tsukasa cork bark. I'm going to leave a little bit of opening here so that you know, it doesn't completely hold all the water that may possibly enter it from either rain or watering. And then, let's see, we'll make our usual cuts, right? There you go. Cool. So that's one. Let's do another. There's another one. I'm going to spiral up to the top, leave some gaps, in that and make my cuts. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of these, and I'm going to take it over to the big Scots pine and then graft these onto it. I may have to use something unconventional to keep them in place. So let's go see what we have to do. Okay, here's the Scots pine. Everything is still looking like it's alive on this tree since I first collected it back in, I believe it was October, September timeframe. So I'm going to try to do some grafts. I know some people might say, hey, that's a little early, but I'll be honest with you, the sooner I do this, the better. That way I can, speed up the process of getting this into a bonsai shape. Let's take a closer look at this tree. So I did have some die off here, but that branch looks like it was just broken. That's why it died, and so it is what it is. It's fine. The rest of these limbs here, they look turgid. Looks like there's still some sap flow that's moving towards the end of the branches, so that's a good thing. Let's look at this base. I think I'm going to graft. I'm just going to put about maybe a dozen grafts onto this tree and see which one takes. And this is the perfect time to do it, which is kind of the early spring time frame. Doesn't get too hot yet. There's still a lot of rain, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, I've got my tools. I've got this hammer. I've got this chisel that I'm going to use to create the cut where I put in the scion wood. And then the most unconventional thing, I've got a staple gun to keep it in place. We'll see what happens here. I may have to put something, I don't know, we'll see. Let's go for it. I'm going to put one right here. I'm going to put basically scions in all the outside bends. Okay, I just want to get down to the cambium layer. Make sure there's some live sap flow. Okay. And I could just be grafting this onto a tree that's already dead. You never know. Okay. That's pretty crude, but we shall see. And I'm gonna do another one right here. Okay, I kind of missed that shot and actually pierced the scion, but it's keeping it in place, and that's the whole point of doing that. So we'll go from there. I'm going to add a whole bunch more, because this tree needs a lot of opportunity to grow lower branches, and right now I've got some of these lower branches, but I don't think that's enough. You know, I'm gonna have to just fill it in with more lower branches to make it a plausible bonsai. All right, let's follow up on this collected, I believe it's a Scots pine. I'm still not 100% sure that it is. Could be a Pinus contorta, shore pine. It's still alive. That's the most important part. Though, you know, I cut off a lot of branches, and this particular one is pushing some new candles, so it's still alive. There's a lot of dieback on certain branches. It's not in the best health. The top branch up here is still nice and green, very dark green. Some of these branches are struggling, but they're not branches that I want anyways. But I do need them to keep the tree alive and feed the tree. My grafts have not taken. Looks like that's dead. And this one is probably gonna die. They're pretty brown. So I will wait till the tree gets a little bit healthier next year, and then I'll try grafting again. Right now, this is the May update on this tree. See here, there's still live candles on it. I'm just gonna let it grow. It's nowhere near looking like a bonsai, but it's in the works. So we'll follow up with this tree. We're gonna let it grow for a whole season here. Don't touch anything for another year. But this is it. Still some promise right here and right there. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Until the next time. Bye-bye.